For most people that take delivery of a new yacht, the tradition is to plan a shakedown cruise as a way of getting familiar with the boat and to iron out those minor gremlins that are simply part and parcel of a new commission. So it shows remarkable confidence in the boat and the supplier to decide to give your new charge its first hit out in an offshore race. And what if that race is one of the world's most challenging offshore classics, the Rolex Sydney to Hobart Yacht Race? Well, that's precisely what two owners of the latest model Moody DS54 chose to do mere weeks after taking delivery of their new boats. We caught up with Grant Danoon of trybooking.com and Trevor and Di Richardson of Moody Boys in Hobart's Constitution Dock to tell us how they fared. You're here in Hobart with Moody Boys, brand new boat, and the first thing you do is come to Hobart. Tell us about how it was.
We had to get it to Geelong somehow, so we just came via Hobart.
That's a very good excuse.
Very comfortable.
Yeah, Sydney to Geelong via Hobart.
And tell us a little bit about how it performed and how the experience was for you both.
Probably nothing other than perfect. We had, incredibly good weather, and yeah, we tested the boat out well. We had, 0 to 50 knots, but not very much of the 50 knots. Very good in heavy weather, very comfortable in heavy weather.
When we came around sort of the Tasman Island, we went straight into about a 50-knot squall, and we were all sitting inside thinking, is the helmsman okay? Because they look like their clothes are blowing around a bit, but from inside it, with that glass, you just cannot hear a thing, and it is so quiet and it's so gorgeous. And as one of our crew members described it, it's actually like being at the IMAX. You're in your great big couch, looking through all those glass windows, watching all the action happen, and it's almost quiet and surreal. Yet outside it was blowing 50 knots of wind, and the boat was probably only at about a 20-degree lean at the most. It was just handling it gorgeously.
Well, what made you decide on the DS54, and secondly, how's that living up to expectations?
The expectations are exactly spot on. I keep using the word perfect, but I can't fault the thing.
Did you have enough time to actually appreciate the fun of the start, or was it all a bit nerve-wracking and slightly focused?
For me, it was totally nerve-wracking. Not so much because there were the number of boats. It was a great start, basically a broad reach start. It was a fairly casual start, but again, because of the 35 knots of wind and not knowing the characteristics of this boat, meant that we sort of didn't want to be up there on the start line because we had it weather helmed, 26 tonnes of weather helming, and all the other boats coming down. It would have made a very, very big mess.
What speed do you reckon was the maximum speed you managed to get the boat up to?
We got it up to 16.1.
And what do you reckon was the highest speed you got the boat going?
We were seeing, on average, around about 8.5 knots.
What were the highest wind speeds you saw, and whereabouts was that?
Just off the bottom of Tasman, as we came around towards Tasman Island, we got caught up in a wind squall that went through, and I heard one of the girls on the helm call out 50 knots. And just as well she called out 50 knots because we had no knowledge inside the cabin that it was 50 knots at all.
The boat's here in good order. Any damage at all to the boat?
Yeah, we had a wee bit of damage with our furling of the spinnaker, but I think that's probably not a criticism of the spinnaker, but a criticism of us. We just didn't do our homework properly.
And Diane, all I've heard is just how much food was coming out into the cockpit all of the time. Was this your role?
Oh, definitely. Just loved cooking in the kitchen. It was fabulous.
And you don't suffer from seasickness, so that was all good for you?
I cooked. I didn't say I ate it all.
Tell us, what was the most exotic thing you were passing out to the guys?
Oh, we had casserole, spicy lamb casserole, and they loved the sausage rolls. They thought there were plenty of garlic in those. Pancakes, not from a packet, real pancakes. They had a bit of everything.
Part of the adventure of the yacht racing for us is actually a challenge in what sort of food can we cook that's more at the extreme edge of cooking and sailing. And so this time we actually set our goal as to actually cook up chocolate eclairs, and we did that from scratch, creating the custard, the choux pastry, and getting that into the oven. And it just looks stunning. I mean, hopefully we're going to be setting a new standard for not so much the racing class, but maybe the cruising class.
Yeah, racing's probably not its forte. It's a cruiser, there is no doubt, but a very comfortable one. And cruising, yeah, you could go anywhere in it with comfort and safety.
Cruising and socialising.
Yeah, which it's very well set up for. The deck saloon makes it very easy, doesn't it?
Right. It's just a real pleasure.
Moody across the line.